it impacts how we feel. If you notice that I'm always talking to Nancy, and Nancy's hella negative, and then you start being negative, and you're like, that's not even me. It's because that's what you keep taking in. So be mindful about what you're listening to, what you're eating, right? Because that impacts who we are. When I drive home from work, whether I'm teaching at the university or if I'm at the practice or whatever I'm doing, I drive in silence. I drive very mindfully because I'm trying to release all the things that I just did and prepare for the next thing. I noticed that when I listen to Gucci, right, and Jeezy, who I love, and somebody cuts me off, what am I doing? Don't be cutting me off in my car. I'm about to come outside. It's too much. It's too much. So I'm very mindful of what I'm listening to, right, in the car, because again, it's a direct correlation into how I'm going to behave. When I am feeling down, I may turn on, I don't know, Tamala Man, because gospel is going to pick me up. So again, being very mindful of what you're listening to, who you're talking to, what you're eating, because all of that plays a role in who we are. This just has contact information, buildingendurance.com, my number, and all that jazz. But I have stress balls to give out for stressful days. And then I also have some ways to take a break. So I hear people say they're not sure, like, what am I supposed to do? What are coping skills? So I have some coping skills worksheets, and then I also have just a wheel that talks about how to take care of us. I'm staying away from self-care because there's a lot of like non-licensed people out there pushing self-care. So ways to take care of us in a variety of ways I have up here. And then what are we doing after this, Marvin? Where is he? What time does this end?
As soon as you get done.
Oh, okay. So I'll be around for a few minutes if you have some questions or if you want to talk about things. Oh, you printed that out for me.
I did.
Thank you very much. I also have just a quick questionnaire, and you can do it. Don't throw it away because I'll use it again. But if you do it and you score it and you want to talk to me about your scoring, then I'll also hang around for that. So PHQ-9 is just 9 questions that really help us get an idea of where we are as it relates to sadness and feeling good. In the mental health profession, we have a lot of these screenings, and it kind of helps give us an idea of where people are and then what type of help they need. So I'll pass this around as well. And again, if you don't want it, just leave it there. I'll pick it up. But if you want it and you want to score it and you want to talk to me about it, then we can do that as well. Okay?
Are you willing to take any questions?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Questions. Preguntas. We do. We do take insurance. Wide variety. Medicaid, Blue Cross, Aetna, Cigna, United, TRICARE, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Yes, sir.
Do you utilize the bounce back trauma focus plan?
Bounce back trauma focus plan. I haven't heard of that one, but you should tell me about it after. Any other questions, Marvin?
What are some of the things that you've been able to do to help combat the notion that when people are when people are just depressed or something like that, folks just say, well, you can just pray that away.
Yeah. So that's a good question. I do things like this. Every month I commit myself, whether I get paid or not, to go out and talk to somebody in the community. So I've done like Dear Sister Charlotte, I come to the Urban League, I go to KIP, I go to churches. Again, at least once a month, and I want to talk to people. I want to show people that there's not a face for mental health. Any of us in the room can be impacted by it. There's nothing to say, regardless of how much money you make, if you were raised in a 2-parent household, none of that matters when it comes to mental health. So I try to get out there and talk to people and have these really open and genuine conversations because I want us to be getting help. You know, if you had a toothache, you would go see who? And then if you busted a knee playing basketball, who'd you go see? You go to the doctor. So when you have a mental health concern, whether that's anxiety or depression or relationships or workplace stress, you should be going to see a therapist. And again, I go to church, I believe in God, but I also believe that God created therapists. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Could you just share maybe like 1 or 2 tactics, just from your sheet, for sake of time, of what I'm stressed, I wake up in the morning, I already feel anxiety, like what's something that I can do to easily calm down before I step out?
That's a good question. So one of the things I talk to my clients about a lot is routine. So how you start and end your day is going to impact what you do. So when people come to me and say they can't sleep at night, I'm like, are you on your phone? scrolling? Because that blue light plays a role. Are you having dinner before bed? What time are you laying down? Are you showering before bed? The same thing for in the morning. We should have morning routines, right? Before you get on Instagram, do you need to journal? Do you need to watch a motivational video by Sarah Jakes Roberts? Like, what do you need to do to have a positive day? And that's gonna be my answer to that question. Do you need to meal prep because you don't wanna eat out, you know? A huge part of why we are so disorganized is, again, because we're rushing and we don't have any type of routine. So we should be doing some calming, unwind things in the evening to decompress. And then in the morning, we should have whatever our routine is too, so we can have a successful day. Okay?
I have one more question. I'm sorry. You said you read a lot. What's one
do.
book that you could probably like recommend to kind of help alleviate stress?
To alleviate stress.
Or what's one of your favorite books?
Okay. I have a few. So You Are a Badass is a good one by Jen Cicero. What I Know for Sure by Oprah is a really big one. Daring Greatly by Brene Brown is a good one too. So yeah, got a whole list of books. So we good? We tracking? I'll pass these things
I have
around.
a question.
Yes, sir.
How do you know if a relationship is healthy?
I don't know if we have time to go into that, but what I'll say is, before I found my lovely husband, I had been in an emotionally and a physically abusive relationships. So healthy relationships are super important to me. And just a few things that come to mind that I had to experience and I didn't know like what was happening. He would tell me what I could and couldn't wear. He went through my clothes and was like, I don't like this and I don't like that. And for me, I'm not a clothes person, so I thought it as like, oh yeah, he's just picking out some cute clothes. But in reality, it's about power and control. So somebody telling you what you can wear, how much money you can spend, what time you gotta be inside, that's unhealthy. People telling you that you can't talk to certain friends, they don't want you to be around your family, that's an unhealthy relationship.
What about those unhealthy relationships as friends?
Same thing. Friends that you gotta walk on eggshells around, there's not one friend I have that I can't be myself with. Right? So there shouldn't be a friend where you're like, ooh, I don't want to tell her this because she's going to judge me. That's not your friend. That's your associate. Yeah, you shouldn't feel judgment from a friend. That doesn't even make sense. Same thing with family as well, especially when it comes to like financial manipulation. Just because you make a lot of money, you got to go back and pay auntie's bills and all that. That's not healthy. Marvin.
I know you mentioned earlier when you came in about like being in this environment where everyone's like, a lot of people work in corporate America and whatnot. Have you got, or from your experience, how do you tell people to cope with like that survivor's remorse type thing?
As it relates to like being the only black person at the office?
Or just being the only successful person in your family? Or the only one making it out of your neighborhood?
So one of the things that, for anybody who's experiencing that, I want you guys to remember that that burden that you're carrying does not belong to you. So some of us are lucky to not be our circumstances. I'm one of those people, the only business owner in my family, the only one with a graduate degree. And my family used to do the same to me. My grandma's like, come back and talk to your cousins about how to go to college. I'm not doing that. Unless they ask me. I don't need that burden. And it really came off to them as like I was trying to tell them or I was better than them. So sometimes we end up being the ones who make it, and then it turns into a negative, and again, we shouldn't be feeling that way. So how can we spend time with our family, and this is huge, how can we spend time with our family around the holidays and enjoy that time? You shouldn't like dread going home. Like, that don't even make sense. And if you are dreading going home, asking yourself like, damn, why do I not want to be here? Why would I rather be somewhere else? And why do I feel obligated to be in this space where I'm not supported?
Depends on the dread. I dread going home because of the weather.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's not the same.
It's cold out there.
Right? Thank you all. Remember, take care of your health.
All right, so let's give another round of applause to Miss Alicia. So with that being said,